It's always been an ambition of mine to write an Elvis book. Back in 2020, when all that business was going on, it struck me that there actually is one thing that I know enough about to write a book on: Elvis's Japanese vinyl. And so a couple of years ago, I published an ebook on Elvis's Japanese LPs. Sometime after I published that, I got an email from Dick Dekker, who some of you probably know from the excellent books that he's published. And he asked me if I was planning on doing anything on the singles and the EPs. He said, if you're going to, then I'll do something else. But if you're not going to do so, I'd like to do a Japanese book myself. So I wrote back and said, well, I am thinking about doing something on the singles and the EPs. But how do you feel about working together on a project? And luckily he said yes. And this is the fruits of our labors. Look at that. A book, an actual book with my name on it. There it is. And there's Dick, the man. Actually, Dick's been working harder than I have. He's the one that's managed to pull this off, put all this together. He's the one been working on the editing and compiling of this thing. And there it is, from Memphis to Tokyo. All you need to know about collecting Elvis's Japanese vinyl. There is the back. Some fabulously rare items there on the back. And in fact, that's something I would like to point out at this point. There are so many pictures in this book, and it's largely down to contacts of Dick. A lot more photos than I was able to gather for my ebook a couple of years ago. Hundreds and hundreds of photos of covers, labels, obies, inserts, and other record-related items as well. And yeah, I just want to take this moment to say thank you to everyone who's actually contributed to this, because without a lot of people who've helped us, there would not be anywhere near as many pictures in this book. There is the spine. This is already heavy. This is actually not the finished product. This is what you might call a test printing, I suppose. It has just over 100 pages, but the final book will have about 700 pages. So what's in it? When can you get it? How can you get it? And what about the free gift? The book is almost the same size as an LP cover, nearly 12 inch by 12 inch. And as well as all the data you'd want to see on the records themselves, there's also a lot of other information too, such as if you've collected Elvis's Japanese singles and LPs as well, actually, and obies, you may notice that there's often slight color variations on the same releases, and we go into why that is. Another thing that I'm very, very excited about, I think this is going to change the whole world of collecting Japanese Elvis records. I've actually figured out a way to date all Japanese records. Well, certainly from the late 1950s to the late 1960s and into the early 1970s. So this book explains how you can actually date your records when they were actually pressed. And it turns out that a lot of records were pressed many, many times. I'm not talking, 2 or 3 times, but dozens and dozens of times. And so we go into all that in the book. So there are also 4 sections. We've got a 78 section, 45 section, an EP section, and 5 sections because there's a 10-inch LP section and a 12-inch LP section as well. Each section has its own introduction. So there is the introduction to the 78s. You can see a few sleeves there, company sleeves that came with the 78, as well as an example of an insert. 7-inch singles there. That's part of the introduction to the 7-inch singles. You can see some of the labels there. So we give you some examples of all the different label variations. And I'll show you an example page. Let's have a look here. For example, Love Me Tender. That's the first of the Love Me Tender pages. And you can see an early insert at the top there. And then below that, you can see there's a table. And that gives you all the information on the different variants that we have found. So Love Me Tender was a very popular single. So there are at least 13 versions of that single out there. And if you've got one, you just be able to look at the table there, find the one that you have. And most of them are dated fairly accurately. And on the next page there, you can see there's some more examples. Slightly different inserts, all the different label variants, and over there you've got a Japanese movie flyer, or it could be the front cover of a pamphlet for the movie itself. It's another single that was released many times over the years, Hound Dog Don't Be Cruel. So on the left side there you've got the first insert, the table listing all the different variants or different releases, and then on the right side there you can see all the different sleeves that were used for it. Turning to the EPs, again we've got an introduction page there and all the different label designs that were used for the EPs over the years. The EPs are fairly straightforward actually, there weren't many variations. These are a couple of early EPs here. We've also got a lot of photographs of promo releases, as you can see here, just above my thumb. This is a promo copy of that 1956 or 57 EP there. I recently did a video looking at the first releases of the Elvis Presley album, and here you can see the two 10-inch LPs. The one on the left is the first version for 56, and the one on the right is the second version from 1961. There's the introduction to the 12-inch LPs with all the different label designs that were used. Well, these are most of them. There are one or two other labels that were used for just a couple of releases, but these are the major ones. And with some albums were released many times over the years, so we go into a lot of detail about those. Here is the first 12-inch LP, Elvis, from 1957, and you can see the first cover there on the left side. And in the pink block there you've got all the track listings, and under the picture there you've got a table listing all the different variations that we've found, going right up to 1992. And on the right there you can see the labels and a couple of different back covers, but when you turn it over, bam, you get all these different labels and obi variations. There's a bit of a space there on the right side for a missing obi, but we've already got that one, so by the time the book is printed that will be in there. And lots of information about the LP and the different variations released over the years. Another one that was released a lot was Elvis's Golden Records. That's the first page there. So on the right there you can see a very long table. So if you've got an album, you can just look it up, look for the catalog number and look for the details. On the right there's notes that will help you identify which copy you have, and the releases are dated fairly accurately. And again, on the next page you've got these stunning images of all the different obis and label designs, and on the left side there you can see the early 70s reissue, front and back cover. Another section that we have is one that hasn't really been looked at in detail before, and that is on the left side there you can see one page from the section on promo only LPs. Victor and RCA released many LPs over the years, various artist compilation LPs promoting new singles and LPs, and I did a video about that type of release quite a few months ago. So we've got a whole section on that listing the catalog numbers and the Elvis songs that were included on those releases. And just there at the back there you can see a page from a section that talks about free gifts that came with free gifts or free offers that were available with the records back in the day. Speaking of free gifts, we are actually offering a freebie to the first 500 people to pre-order the book, and I'll tell you how you can do that later in the video. So let me tell you what it is that we're offering. Back in 1965, Victor were planning to release a single with a couple of tracks from the Elvis for Everyone album. In the end, they decided not to release it, and they brought out a Christmas single instead. And they even actually included these two songs on a promo-only advance release LP, one of those LPs promoting upcoming singles. So it even had its own catalog number and everything. So what we've done is we've imagined how this single might have looked, and we've come up with the artwork, and we're going to be pressing the singles as well. So I can actually show you what the artwork and the labels will look like. Here is the insert. So it's going to have Your Cheating Heart on one side and Memphis, Tennessee on the other. And look at that fabulous design there. Great shot. And of course, with it being a Japanese release, it has all the lyrics on the back there. It's even got some Japanese sleeve notes there by yours truly. And around about that time, a lot of the singles came with 4-page inserts, and we've also done the same. However, we've gone one better than the typical Japanese release in that we've included color pictures on the inside there. And it's even got a little Japanese fact file for you to practice your Japanese on. And I can show you what the labels will look like. This is not the real thing. It's a little bit oversized actually as a label. I've just stuck that label onto a scratched up old Lee Dorsey record. And so they see it, Your Cheating Heart, on that side. It's even got the Japanese promo text up here. And the label color is based on the promo labels that they used around about 1967-68. Victor were pressing the promo singles on red, with red labels. So that's what we're going to be offering. And you know, if you're not interested in the single, you can get the book and flog the record on eBay and get some of your money back. So when is it coming out and where can you get it? Well, the best thing to do is to, like I said, contact Dick. Please don't tell me that you want a copy, because it doesn't count, if you like. If you want to guarantee a copy of this with the single, please get in touch with Dick, and I'll leave his email address down below in the comments section. I don't know how much it's going to cost yet. That's something I can't tell you about yet. And we were planning a late summer publication, but I think it's going to get put back from that. It's going to be a little bit later, but with a bit of luck it should be out later on this year. And I think that's it. So yeah, my apologies to anyone who gets upset at shameless self-promotion videos, but it's not every day that I write a book, so I'm sure you can forgive me on this one occasion. But that's it. If you want to know anything else about the book, just drop me a line and I'll try and tell you what I can about it. But that's it for this week. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.